Police officers of Reddit, what's the weirdest thing you've caught teenagers or kids doing that is illegal but you found hilarious? I've posted this before but I always find it hilarious cause my dad is a goofy fun guy. He's been a cop for almost 30 years now and he loves his job cause he gets to be out in the community and make a difference. The guy is gonna retire next month and he's stoked he gets to play Battlefield and go on vacation. Anyway, he gets a call one night about some teenagers vandalizing a park. Dispatch lets him know that it's a lady that calls 24/7 thinking she's the neighborhood watch. So as he cruises in towards this park he comes in all lights blacked out and watches from a distance. After a couple minutes of watching he realizes these people are playing hide and seek. They also look a little older than just teenagers. He gets out of a car and sneaks up to some of them hiding in a group behind some trees and bushes. My dad hunkers down behind them and one of them looks back and sees him. The kid freaks out and starts to run and my dad grabs him and says, "Dude, shut up or the other team will find us." The guys crack up cause now they realize my dad is down to win this game. He ends up playing hide and seek with this group of 21-year-olds for the next hour. The best part was about 6 months later. I'm having a Halloween shindig at my house and my dad stops by cause he wants to score some burgers off us while he's at work. He walks in and a guy at the party is like, "Holy shit. Your dad is officer. He played hide and seek with us." Double quote. While in college we got the police called on us for a violent crime in progress. When they pounded on our door we opened and they barged in. A neighbor reported hearing people yelling things like, "Shut up you little, I'm going to RP your freaking 12-year-old ass," along with a girl screaming profanity. When the cops saw it was 3 guys and a girl drinking and playing Halo, the one just looks at the others in sheer disbelief. The cop starts to tell us they were called in for a RP in progress and tell us how we need to be more careful and whatnot because it could have ended badly. During this time my friend is still on the headset and the other guys we were playing with are wondering what the hell is going on and are hassling him. And then my friend says with the cop in the room, "We were apparently RPing you frikers so badly somebody had to call the cops." And the cops just can't hold it in and start cracking up. They did give us a noise warning but no citations. My brother was a cop who worked nights in Minneapolis. One snowy night near the UOFO campus he noticed a car weaving. So he pulled them over thinking there would be alcohol involved. Nope, it was a car full of deaf people having an argument which included the drivers. He just told the driver to not sign in drives. Not illegal but certainly weird. Got a noise complaint call where the neighbors informed dispatch the parents are out of town and suspect underage drinking and or persistent use. These types of calls are the worst because you can almost guarantee someone is puking in the back of your car and you'll have to write a buttload of local ordinance paper. We roll up, throw the overheads on to scatter as many as possible and make a slow walk up to the front door. We play the nobody's home game for a while until one of the kids lets my partner in the back door. We subsequently find around 12 teenagers and what appears to be multiple bottles of rum and vodka as well as several baggies containing marijuana and some pills. Upon further inspection, we find the liquor bottles have been emptied and filled with water. The marijuana is actually oregano and parsley and the pills were just aspirin. They were having a pretend party to put on social media but the strongest thing in the room was a Red Bull. My brother was once jumping his bike off the end of the public boat dock behind the city hall which also housed our police station. They had it tethered so it wouldn't get lost on the bottom. The cop came out, watched for a while and said, "I'm fairly certain something about that is illegal. But I can't figure out what and it looks like fun. So be safe," and walked back inside. A few years ago a friend and I were walking home through a residential estate. Drunk. After a night out. About halfway home a police car pulls up next to us and says they need to talk to us. They say that CCTV in the area had observed us entering several front gardens. We then drunkenly explained that we had been going into people's gardens and swapping around flower pots, hanging baskets and garden ornaments with their next door neighbors. One of the cops was laughing a lot and the other seemed really confused. Luckily they got another call and let us carry on our way. My friend had a bunch of prop arms and legs in his car, you know. College. He and his other friend were trespassing in the Northfield tunnels. Google it. And when they get back to the car there is a cop waiting. He asks to see in the trunk so they open it. He jumps back a sec. But quickly realizes the arms and legs are fake and he hasn't caught some serial killers. Then gives them a very stern shut the frick up look as he calls his partner from the car to come look at us all shaky voiced. As he tells my friend and his friend to put their hands up. Hella serious. The other cop comes over. Looks in the trunk and freaks the frick out. Screams. And runs away back to the car. At which point the first cop bursts out laughing and tells my friends haha. He was. Hahaha he was in Vietnam. Hahaha and does a get out of here gesture and sends them on their way. So basically he used my friend to pull a super cruel practical joke on his partner. My brother is a cop and he told me one time he got a call around 9:30 in the morning for a suspicious person sitting in their car in a neighborhood. My bro goes up to him and asks what he's doing. Dude is waiting for his wife to leave for work so he can go back home and play WoW all day instead of go to his own job. My bro tells him to go wait somewhere else because he's freaking out the neighbors. I didn't catch them. But when I arrived at my first station, after graduating from the academy, I was talking to some of the guys who had been there a while. I asked if they knew my cousin, who lived in that patrol area. Turns out they did. They had a call a few years back of some kids driving around, pulling up next to cars at traffic lights, and waving a huge dildo at the drivers, laughing hysterically, then driving off. They were pulled over, brought down to the station, and parents were notified. There was one old timer who was a bit of DCK, telling me that my cousin was a pervert, as were his friends. But the other guys said they thought it was hilarious when it happened. And they never charged the kids with anything. I still mess with my cousin about that when I see him. I'm not a cop, but I have a story where I made a cop laugh. It was after I got arrested for stealing alcohol from Target and I was handcuffed to a rail on the wall of this room while I was waiting to be processed. The cop was just passing through and asked the guy being detained across from me what he did. The other guy, who was around my age, said he was there for retail theft, but he stole a bunch of gains. Then he turned to me and asked the same question. After I told him I was there for stealing alcohol, he looked down at my shoes, which were a pair of really beat up Chucks, started laughing and said, "Man, you should have tried to steal a new pair of shoes, because those are fricked up." I couldn't help but laugh myself and he kept laughing to himself as he left the room. Not a police officer, but this story is going to fit. I was 17. Just got my learner's permit which allowed me to drive alone but not after midnight or before 6 AM. NJ older rules, and a bunch of friends. I went to Applebee's. I had a couple of airsoft guns in the trunk, about 3,000 plastic BBs, and we all decided it was a good idea to chase each other around in the parking lot with the guns. Stupidly, I took off the yellow tips. Waitress inside sees us, calls the cops. Cops show up, arrest us and ask us to sit on the curb. After about 7 minutes of seriousness, they take the guns and BBs, dump them in my trunk and back seat, laugh and leave after breaking the airsoft guns. They told us not to play with these in public parking lots and not to remove the orange yellow tips. Those guys took our beers too. Now that I think about it, we could have been killed. Not a police officer, but did loss prevention. Watched a girl of about 13 steal a pregnancy test, go into the bathroom. She came out about 10 minutes later bawling her eyes out, sprinting out of the store. I could have stopped her for shoplifting, but couldn't stop laughing and thinking this girl's life is ruined. I shouldn't make it worse. My dad always tells this story from when he was young and stupid in the 70s. Now he's old and stupid. Anyway, one of their friends is hanging out the sunroof while they're driving down the freeway. Naturally, they get pulled over. The cop comes to the window and says, "I don't know what but I'm going to find something to ticket you for. He goes back to his cruiser and flips through his handbook for about 20-30 minutes. He finally comes back with this huge grin on his face and says, "You over exceeded the limits of your vehicle, here's your ticket." Double quote.